Karen Roby here with one of our favorites, Chris Matishik for ZDNet. And, Chris, we are all learning new ways to do things like virtual. We're having meetings with family members now, or just conversations, happy hours, right, through Zoom or whatever platform you may use. And you were telling me, which I think this is a really neat idea, you attended a virtual dinner party just the other day.
I did. It was scary and then frightfully exciting. So my wife and I got invited to a virtual dinner party by two of our friends who are married, and they sent a Zoom link, of course entirely insecure now, but do we really care anymore? And so we didn't really know what to expect, but of course it wasn't as if we were cooking the same foods or drinking the same wine. We were literally attempting to talk to each other while both sides ate separate meals. So 7 o'clock came around, we attended this virtual dinner party and waved to our friends. And for the most part, the conversation was relatively normal. And they do like to drink a lot of wine, which meant, given that they weren't at our house, we saved a bit on the wine budget. But during the course of this evening, we discovered things about them that I sort of knew, but one of them didn't know about their spouse.
So what you learned, if I'm correct here, is that now that we're all working together, living together with our spouses or significant others, we're realizing things we didn't know before because we're spending so much time together. Is that right?
Well, some of us have a work personality and a home personality, and those are not necessarily the same person at all. Of course they are, but at work we fake things a lot, don't we? We try and act to please others or to dominate others or what have you, and of course we can't dominate anyone at home. So what happened was that my friends, and I will use names that aren't their real names for obvious reasons, I hope, that Donald, who is a designer, began to reveal that he didn't quite realize how his husband Kevin was all day. And the only word that he could summate to describe how Kevin is all day is loud. He speaks loud. He works in what one might politely call the BS business. I'm sorry, the PR business. And I knew it was a couple of letters. I just wasn't sure which. And so he talks all day trying to persuade people to give him money in exchange for giving them fame. Well, isn't that what they're supposed to do? I don't know. And so he has meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting. So here are these guys, love each other. They really do love each other. They've been married for a while. They absolutely love each other. But suddenly Donald is looking at Kevin and thinking, I'm not sure whether I hate your work personality and I need to do something about it.
And so, you can't just cancel out, especially if you don't have a lot of room to move to, you cannot avoid each other.
That's the problem. And of course, you can't, but also in terms of noise, you can't. So he invested in some AirPods Pro. Personally, I can't stand sticking things in my ears. No things whatsoever. I know a lot of people adore these things. They wear them outside. Oddly, some of them even think they look cool wearing them. Personally, I think they look faintly silly. However, Donald bought himself some AirPods Pro, and what he discovered, because he's not quite as technically minded as his husband, what he discovered was that they have 2 noise cancellation settings. So he said, I can turn them on. If I want to allow some noise in, then I put them on setting number 1. And so if he happens to speak to me, if Kevin happens to speak to me, then at least I can answer him and pretend I'm polite. On the other hand, most of the day, I stick him in my ears and put them on setting 2. And he said he could not believe how good the noise cancellation was. That if they are good enough to cut out the noise that Kevin makes all the time. And I've had dinner with these people, so I know a little bit of what he's talking about. So technology for him has actually, he literally said, this has saved my marriage, because he did not believe he would be able to put up with that amount of noise for effectively 12 hours a day. Because if you're running a company just from your house, you have to take every call, you have to talk to every employee, you're in constant communication all the time. Whereas Donald is a designer and he wants peace and quiet to design. So here is a tiny, maybe slightly silly piece of technology, which is saving a marriage. And I'm looking for anything that's uplifting right now, and
Yes.
I find that uplifting.
We need it. And we all keep talking about how things like Netflix may save our sanity somewhat just because we can escape into, show after show after show. Things like Netflix and I don't know, ice cream at night. I don't know what we're all going to look like and feel like when we emerge from this lockdown, Chris. But it's good to know that at a time like this, something like your AirPods with their 2 settings could really help save a marriage. Hey,
It's really quite extraordinary. And of course, some technologies now are completely redundant. So for me, cable TV is completely useless because there's no sports. If I can't have my San Francisco Giants games, my Warriors games, what's the point of cable TV? I don't know. Whereas, as you say, Netflix, Amazon Prime, especially on Amazon Prime, they have lots of shows where people talk like me. And some of them are from the 18th century. And so one can sit watching peaceful television, comfort TV, I believe the technical internal term is. So we watch comfort TV, like, for example, something called Midsummer Murders, which I know is a terrible show. But you can sit there and actually feel soothed by it, precisely because it's kind of terrible, but it's set in a little English village, and most people are actually nice to each other, except for the fact that so many damn murders happen there. But that's just a sort of small detail. But I think it's true. Some technologies have now suddenly become utterly useless to us, whereas other technologies are saving our marriages.
absolutely. Who would have thought it, And you sound a little bit like my 13-year-old son who's about to
Thank you
leave.
very much for that. I'm flattered.
Yeah. Well, you let me finish because he doesn't have his sports to watch. So he's going crazy not having that fix, of who's going to win and who plays well and who doesn't and all that good stuff. So I feel your pain there.
It's awful. Who's he a fan of? He's not a Yankees fan, is he?
He's not a Yankees fan. No. He loves the NBA and he's into, I mean, he was really, really looking forward to the NCAA, basketball for college, Final Four, all that bit. That's his favorite. And so when March Madness, when that was canceled, man, it was all downhill from there for him. So
Absolutely. There are many of us who are going to be permanently mentally scarred. So the one thing we want in our lives is to make sure that our marriages, our relationships don't permanently scar us as well.
that is right. So if it takes investing in some new AirPods, maybe canceling out some of that noise from your partner, probably be worth it in the end. All right. Well, Chris, as always good to talk to you. Thank you so much for being with us. Lots more, of course, you guys, on ZDNet. You can find it there and a lot more of Chris's articles as well. Thanks for watching.